Research. Archive documents have revealed that direct ancestors of King Charles and the royal family bought and enslaved people on tobacco plantations in Virginia. Joining me now is former royal correspondent for The Sun and all-round right royal legend, Charles Ray. Charles, it's always a pleasure and never a chore. In a way, Charles, this is a can of worms that the King opened himself. He said that he would deal with slavery and its links to the royal family. Can you tell us about the details of this letter and the direct connection to the royal family, please?
I can, and it's absolute rubbish, Martin, to be perfectly honest, in the short term. Now, there's been some research by The Guardian, which seems to want to get involved in self-flagellation over its own links with slavery. Their owners had links with Edward Coulson, the slaver whose statue, if you remember, was pulled down. Now, this latest piece of document shows that 200 slaves were sent to the plantation in Virginia owned by Edward Porteous. Now, 2 centuries later, about 1830, a direct descendant, Francis Dora Smith, who was born 30 years after the abolition of slavery in this country, married Claude Bowes Lyon. That will be a famous name. And they were the parents of our dearly departed Queen Mother, who is King Charles's grandmother. So that's the link. But to say that Edward Porteous has a link, he has 10 degrees of separation to the King. So I think it's stretching a point to say that he is linked either legally or biologically to the King. And you have to remember that as well, that we had Prince Albert, who was married to Queen Victoria, who himself was an anti-slave campaigner and helped bring about the end of slavery in this country.
OK, we know that The Guardian are deploying the woke screen, so to speak. You're right, they have their own links to slavery. They also are avowed anti-monarchists, no surprises there. Is this, however, a bigger conversation about reparations? Do you think there could be a position in the future where Prince Charles may dig into his own personal fortune to try and buy off his historical links to slavery?
I hope he doesn't, Martin. I mean, simply because slavery happened a long, long time ago. There isn't one person in this country who thinks that slavery was a good thing. It was abhorrent. It was terrible. It's a really bad part of our history. But we used to send children up chimney stacks as well. We don't do that anymore. Are we going to sort of have reparation for all that sort of stuff? Now, the King himself, treats the question of slavery extremely seriously and considers it, a horrible crime. He has got the links now to not an inquest, but an investigation into links between the royal family and slavery. Now, it's a long running investigation, and we won't even know the result of that till around about 2026. So both he and the Prince of Wales, the current Prince of Wales, have expressed their sadness over slavery. But I think we should spend more time and money investigating modern-day slavery. We've got modern-day slavery going on in this country at the moment as we speak. And that is equally a terrible crime and should be clamped down on, and we should get rid of it.
Yeah, hear to that. It's worth pointing out as well that the Royal Navy, at great expense and loss of life, did its very best to help abolish slavery. Let's move on now. The Guardian trying their best to rain on the parade. Let's look at some of the positive side. There are some new photographs have been released, yes. Charles. Tell us about them.
Right, we've got 3 new photographs for the King and Queen. We've got the couple together in front of the coronation portrait of George V, and we have got an individual portrait of the King sitting on a chair, and then Camilla, the Queen, sitting on a chair. Lovely photographs. They're obviously particularly taken prior to the coronation. But there's been a release of another photograph of Prince Charles in his early days at Trinity College in Cambridge. Now, to be quite honest, Martin, this picture, which we can see on the screen, but for people who are on radio, it really comes out of the files from the Criminal Records Office. It's got his name written in it, Wales, HRH, the Prince of, and it's got 1967. It just looks like, if you see this man, stay away. He is a dangerous man. And it's a shame, really, it's a sort of photograph that your mum will bring out at some inappropriate time to show relatives, really. I suspect the king would rather like this one buried.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It looks like a police mugshot. All that's missing is the height chart behind him. Quickly, a couple of guests have been announced for the coronation itself. One of them, great, Tom Cruise. Another one, however, Han Zheng, a Chinese diplomat who ordered the clampdown on the Hong Kong protests. That's gone down quite badly.
It has gone down quite badly, as has the invitation to Michelle O'Neill, who is the Sinn Féin, who will be First Minister if it ever decides to get back into Stormont again. These are government invitations, not palace invitations. So obviously the governments want to smooth troubled waters with the Sinn Féin and obviously the Chinese government. I think it's wrong, especially when you've got people like the Duchess of York, Fergie, not being invited, and the bridesmaid of the late Queen, Lady Pamela Hicks, not being invited either.